Hi guys, and welcome back to my channel. My name is Melissa Siegel and I'm a professor of migration studies. Today I'm very excited to have a guest on my channel, Professor Hein de Haas, who's also a professor here at Maastricht University and UNU Merit and the University of Amsterdam. Today we're going to be talking about his new book that is out, his book, The Age of Migration, which is now in its 6th edition, which he has written together with Stephen Cassels and Mark J. Miller. And Hein, thanks so much for being with me today. My first question is, the book is now in its 6th edition. What do you think it is about this book that has enabled it to stand the test of time and really be one of the key texts, I would say, for most Introduction to Migration Studies courses?
I think a very important element of the book has been its accessibility. So we've always tried to write a book in a very accessible way, based on scientific evidence, with comprehensive coverage of migration trends in the world, linking it to theories and causes and consequences of migration. So it tries to be comprehensive, really comprehend the whole literature, give an overview of world migration trends historically and recently, and at the same time tries to put it in as accessible language as possible. So it is really meant for a generic audience of not just only students, but also researchers, practitioners, policymakers, journalists. So it really tries to expose to the wider world knowledge about migration. It's a scientific book, but it tries to make it very accessible.
Yeah. And I mean, this book has been in previous editions also very popular. What is different about the 6th edition as opposed to the 5th edition, and why is it important that people read the 6th edition?
Well, each edition is basically a new book. It is not just a matter of updating and adding some references. We really have tried throughout I came on board with the last edition. I'm a lead author of the current edition, and what we've always tried to do is innovate, which means bringing on board new knowledge. For instance, knowledge on migration and development, the effectiveness of migration policies. We have so much better data compared to in the past. So it tries to draw on the latest evidence. Of course, it also tries to update, but what is also important, it has more and more provided a global perspective on migration. Because initially, by the nature of the research and the policy attention, the book was quite focused, the first few editions, on Europe, North America, and the coverage of migration issues has really become increasingly global. And the last few editions, much more material on Africa, on Asia, and in this edition also we have much more coverage on the former Soviet Union, which was still a missing link somehow in the previous edition. So this is, I think, the first edition with a really global coverage of migration trends.
I mean, I really appreciate, of course, even when I'm teaching my own students, you know, that there are specific chapters covering different regions of the world with a historical perspective and also what's going on today, and I find that really, really useful. And as you said, you know, there are new sections also specifically just on migration and development, for instance, that's really, really important.
So we really try to balance the perspective of countries of destination and countries of origin. What is also new in this edition is a whole chapter that just tries to look at the different categories and terminology we use to discuss migration and have a much more critical perspective and show the problems with some of those categories that are used in policies, but in practice are quite problematic in many ways. So that's another innovation on top of what I said, the broader coverage of the book and a more systemic attention indeed for issues of how does migration not only affect countries of destination, so the debates on integration, on diversity, on racism are all there, but also there's a full chapter now, as you mentioned, on the effects of migration on countries of origin, so cultural, economic, cultural effects, and that now I think is finally given the attention it deserved.
That's great. And what's also really nice about this book is that it has a companion website. So can you tell us a little bit more about what people have access to on the companion website and how that can be useful?
Now, everybody can access the companion website, whether you've bought the book or not. The website, of course, gives more information on the book and how to order it, but more importantly, it contains extra material. Like throughout the different editions, sometimes we had to drop information on particular countries or particular themes, either because it was outdated or was simply no space in the book. So it contains many more country studies, studies about particular themes that we could not cover in the current edition, but we found it a pity if that information would be lost. So you can still find extra material, extra chapters you can just download from the website. There's also information on other sources of information of migration in the world. So organizations dealing with migration issues, UN agencies, but also migration centers around the world, like here in Maastricht or in Amsterdam. Contains more information about the different centers, how to get access to data, and of course with the relevant web links. So for any student who wants to know more beyond the book, there's everything you need.
Yeah, so it's really a wealth of additional information and resources for people. So if you're interested, please check out the new 6th edition of the book. No worries, I'll make sure to put links both to Hein's website and to the website also of the book and the publisher in the description. If you enjoyed this video, please like and subscribe to the channel, and visit us next time for additional visitors. Thanks so much.